Poszła bimi.
Yo tengo uma. Yo tengo uma Coca-Cola. Mexican. Yeah, my friend Benny there. Benny would never learn Serbian. Benny seemed to be. Benny seems to be rather full of himself. He speaks several languages. He has bluff and bluster about how he learns languages very quickly. He can absorb any language almost quickly, whereas people like myself need a little more learned time just to absorb a language. Benny is always speaking. Native speaker. He doesn't seem to think that he doesn't have to be years of learning another language to become fluent. He likes to learn other languages. He likes to make videos of himself learning different languages. He has not done a video about Serbian, Croatian, or Bosnian. Most people generally don't want anything to do with these languages because of the wars that go on over there and stuff. But in my opinion, it's really, you just don't care about your prejudices. Your prejudices are just, well, not the prejudices about the Balkans being bad and all that are just not good. Are not relevant to the situation. That if anybody wants to learn Serbian, Benny seems to think he has time to learn every language. He seems to think that he has too much bluff and bluster video editing where he thinks he can speak any language really like a native speaker within a few days. And he always goes on italki and always finds the speakers. I, for one, do not have. I have very few opportunities to speak with native speakers in different languages around here because this is a very small region. A very small region where people just don't want to be found. People, the Russians, just don't want to be found. They want to be left alone. They don't want to be on YouTube. They don't have to have anything. You don't have to have a Pimsleur or anything like that. You just need to have the will to learn. To bow down and focus. Just don't worry about how long it takes or about giving. If you're the kind of person that gives up easily, then you're not learning a language is not for you. Don't worry about how long it takes. Just learn it slowly, day by day. Day by day, you'll get it. For those of you who can't absorb languages like Benny can, like me for instance, it takes me It takes me a few it takes me about a few years to really get the language. It really takes me about a few years, roughly, just to know anything. It took me about 5 years of on and off study to get Russian. Even then, I'm still learning. I have some Spanish for you. Una Coca-Cola. Mexicana de Mexico. De Mexico. 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 No, that's not. De Mexico. De Mexico. Coca-Cola de Mexico. Mexico. What makes this good is it's made with sugar, opposed to high fructose corn syrup. It's made with real sugar. It tastes a lot better and a lot more refreshing. It doesn't have that aftertaste that high fructose corn syrup Coke does. It's a long story. My name is Justin Royer. I come from the United States. This is Justin the Polish Polyglot. After I modeled myself after Benny, so I decided to call myself Justin the Polish Polyglot. Because I'm of Polish descent, I refer to myself as the Polish Polyglot. Nobody really has heard of me because I'm not a big traveler like Benny, not into bluff and bluster, and not lying about my past like he does. Not lying about how I can just instantly know everything. Benny seems to be rather humbled by learning Japanese. He seems to be rather taken by it. He seems to be rather slowed down by it. It slowed him down. It doesn't have the structure that European languages do. And he's been quite slowed down by how very slowly he stutters and speaks Japanese. I do not wish to learn Japanese because it's a complicated language and I have no use for it. I don't see very many Japanese people. The people I encounter on the internet are usually Russians. Usually Russians or Chinese. Usually one friend from Taiwan. I usually don't encounter very many Japanese that are learning, and I don't see any real need to learn Japanese. I just don't see a need. I just don't need to learn Japanese. I could learn any language I wanted to. Ich lerne Deutsch. Ich lerne Deutsch. Ich habe Deutsch gelernt. Ich war in der Schule. In der Schule. Meine Lehrerin, Frau Miller, hat mich Deutsch gelernt. 3 Jahre. 3 Jahre Deutsch. Die deutsche Sprache. Ich weiß nur wenig Deutsch. I just prefer to only learn enough of the language to really converse here and there and talk and speak, and just that's about that. Benny Poliglotul. Polyglot. Poliglotul Irlandez. Lande. Yesterday in Irlanda. Jeste, Benny jeste Irlandez. Romin, Roman, Rumiński język, rumuński język, rumuński język. Ja говорим румынском. Румынska je velika strana. Rusija je velika strana. Rusija. Sviđa mi se ruskinje. Sviđa mi se ruskinje. Volim ruskinje. Ruskinje su najlepše devojke na svijetu. U svijetu. Svijet, moj svijet. Ja живу u velikim svijetu. Hrvatska ne voli Srba. Hrvatska nije velika strana. Hrvatska je velika strana. Živim u Kori sa majkom i ocom. Živi sure. Anyway, I was thinking about ja sam bio mislio o kući. Mislim da sam polyglot. Ja sam polski polyglot. Ja sam Justin, polski polyglot. Ja se zovem Justin, polski polyglot. Ja sam neprijatelj Benny. Benny je Luisa. Ja sam imam crnu mačku. Moja mačka zove se Loki. Ja živim u žoltoj kući. Moja kuća je mala. Srpsko. Da pjesma Lepa Brenova pjesma. Živela Jugoslavija. Živela Jugoslavia. Pjesma Lepe Vreme i Miroslava Ilića. Sviđa mi se jugoslovenski rock glazba. Jugoslovenska muzika. Moja majka je tamo. Imam velike imam kuću, živim u kori sa majkom i ocem. Ja imam novi prevodilac. Ja sam prevodilac. Ja nisam dobar prevodilac. Ja ne mogu biti kao rodni govornik. Govornici. Ja nisam. Moj rodni jezik je engleski. Ja sam Amerikanac. Benny ne zna srpski jezik. Benny ne može učiti. Benny ne može učiti srpski jezik. Srpskom jezikom. Benny ne može. Benny ne zna. Ne zna srpski jezik. Benny nema učenja. Učenje za srpski jezik. Benny nema ništa. Benny nije dobar govornik. Christoph Clarkson je budala. Njegova glupost je mrzim njegovu gluposti. Benny je arogantan. Benny nema jezika. Benny ima Benny govori 5 jezika. Benny govori 10 jezika. 10 jezika. Benny is just so full of himself. He just goes around everywhere, from one country to another, learning this language or that language, talking with native speakers, asking them how to improve. His videos are a lot more livelier than mine, because he has big budget. I don't have the luxury of a big budget like he does, so I have to simply just use a video camera to film myself talking. But Benny's approach is to learning languages. His approach probably won't work with Serbian. I think Benny is full of himself. He thinks he can just speak any language. In fact, he was doing a video of himself in Klingon. And he was doing a video of himself in Klingon. He looked rather dorky in that video. He just seems to be rather dorky, rather nerdy kind of guy. He just seems to be in his own world. He just speaks a language. He makes it look easy. In reality, it's not. He is easily humbled by Japanese. He realizes that Japanese is a hard language. He likes to tell people that, oh, Japanese is not a hard language, or Japanese, it's easy, but he was pretty well struggling with it. I could hear him speaking very slowly when he was trying to read something off of kanji. I was like, I don't know, I don't speak Japanese myself, so I wouldn't know what he was referring to. I don't really know what he was talking about. I know that he was rambling on about how he's a good language speaker, and he does a lot of bluff and bluster in his videos. He just doesn't convince me. He just likes to film himself traveling. I have no money to travel across the world. I'm the poor polyglot, the poor Polish polyglot that can speak many languages, but I don't have the ability to travel to much places. I just don't have thousands of dollars to be able to travel anywhere. I live in a small region in northwest Pennsylvania with not a whole lot of people. I live without I can't afford a lot. I just simply do not have the ability to be able to. I have the ability to speak several languages, and I do. It's just that I like to mostly use Serbian, Russian, Polish. They're my favorite languages because they're a lot easier to learn. They have the same basic Western sentence structure as a Western languages, and that they're just different structure based on Greek and Latin, like many Western languages are. The Eastern European languages are among the easiest languages to learn out there. Benny has videos of himself. Benny just only wants to learn as much as as much as he wants to know. Benny wants to learn as much. Benny only wants to learn as much as he can say. He just wants to learn languages like he wants to just. He only wants to learn as much as he needs to, instead of practical purposes for being able to communicate with true native speakers, instead of being able to fluidly converse. He likes to learn. He likes to dabble in different languages and all that. Japanese is quite hard. I could never master that. Ruski yazik. My pronunciation is a bit off. I have a very distinct accent when I speak Russian. I prefer to do my videos in English so people can understand me. I am just teaching you about how to speak several different languages. Russian, and Polish. I could do many things. But I live in Erie, far, far away. He lives in Ireland, far, far away. He lives wherever he can go. I do not have the money to travel anywhere. I am stuck here, Corey. I do not have the ability. I just can't travel. I've been to Florida. I was in Savannah once. Savannah McDonald's listening to people speak Russian. I was in Savannah, Georgia. I never bothered to speak with anybody. I tend to be a little shy and a little introverted. I tend to be a little shy. I tend to mostly speak with. I tend. I tend to speak only with my therapist, Ashley DeWalt. Stairways Behavioral Health. I tend to speak on Jeremy Perry, all the other people that I know, my circle, that are my therapists and stuff, helping me. I don't prefer to. I don't like making videos. I just like to make myself out there so that people will know that I have criticisms of Benny the Irish Polyglot. So that I'd like to form myself as Justin the Polish Polyglot, as a counteracting to Benny. I'd like to counteract my friend Benny. I'd like to counteract him. I'd like to break down the myth that he's the language learner that can just learn everything, when in fact he's greatly exaggerated his own abilities. He's greatly exaggerated himself. He has to exaggerate a lot just to make himself sound like somebody. He only speaks a little bit of Russian. He only speaks a little bit of a language. Because he likes to make himself look cool speaking another language, when in fact he's a total douchebag. He's just a... He likes to make himself into something he's not. Good language speaker. Christoph Plugston is egotistical and he's stuck up. He just sucks. He's just as stuck up as Benny is. These polyglots on YouTube are just maybe will speak several different languages at once, which is a great deal, but there's a great bit of rivalry between Benny, Christoph Plugston, Finnish Practice, and David Mansoret. Each has their own methods and each has their own way. I am a relatively unknown among polyglots because I don't prefer to make videos. I like to keep them to myself as much as possible. They're low profile. I don't prefer to do a whole lot. I just prefer to keep myself down. That way I don't look like a total fool. I don't look like a fool. I speak very well, eloquently. I've been known to speak Russian very well. My friend George Kopian at Harper Delicatessen says I do very well with it. People say I do very well with languages. I agree with that. However, I don't like making videos. I tend to be a bit shy from the camera. I tend to not want to do it. I tend to just make videos criticizing Benny because he's just so full of himself. He seems to think that Christoph Plugston seems to think he can learn a language with an instructor, despite the fact that there are instructors in different languages who could teach somebody for years and they never know a language, just because they learned a different language. It's also the most tightly guarded because its products are golden. Yeah, well, there is a point I'd like to make about traveling. About the point I'd like to make about Danny overly inflating his abilities, speaking a different language. He tends to exaggerate quite a lot to make videos. He tends to lie about himself. He tends to brag too much about how he can just simply learn. In fact, in reality, he's just speaking a little bit, not very well. In reality, he's struggling. He can speak Portuguese. He can just ramble off a bunch of languages in an apartment. He has many friends and many connections. I don't have many friends and many connections. When speaking a different language, I just learn it from a book. Learn it from a book and speak it. From a book in my library and books from. I have a great memorization talent in memorizing a language and getting it down pat. So generally, I learn like that. Generally, I don't prefer to be big on the internet. I never could be big on the internet. I'm just not a sort of video friendly kind of guy. I'm just not really video friendly. I'm just making my own videos just to get by. I don't wish to make money off them. Nobody would really watch them. Nobody would really watch my videos because they seem to be rather cut and dry and boring. I like my videos when they're cut and dry and boring. Don't have all the glitzy special effects that Benny does. Benny has all the glitzy special effects. He's just so full of himself. He's just a man who exaggerates his own abilities. I think Christoph Clugston does a bit of exaggerating on his own abilities as well. I think that the both of them are two people fighting over the same language skills. They're rivals. It's a pissing contest between Clugston and Lewis. Between these two, the fact that he got on my video, the fact that Christoph Clugston got on my video channel calling me a coward and a troll is precisely why I don't like him. He's stuck up and egotistical, and he believes that everybody is wrong if they don't learn like him. He thinks he's the self-appointed Lord of the Universe. He's a total jerk. Unlike Benny, who's Benny is not much better. I am going to counteract these egotistical polyglots with my own style of speaking impromptu videos where I gather together, I say a few phrases in a language, when I gather together my thoughts. It takes me a long time to make a video because I need to say what I need to say within a short amount of time, and minutes go by when I speak a language. It just seems to be odd. It just seems to be rather odd. It just seems to be rather understandable that it takes me a while. It just takes me a while. Well, Clugston says if you're retarded, that means you can't learn language. I'm basically mentally retarded. I would be mentally retarded in his eyes, but I can learn a language. And so that proves him wrong, that mentally retarded people can't learn a language. They don't have the ability to use their functioning brains to be able to learn. It takes a man with a functioning brain and a lot of skills to memorize and get it memorizing, and a lot of skill to learn another language, to memorize it and get it right, and to get it down pat, and to do all that. Just get it down pat and really learn it. Benny, he learns from various people. He just finds various people out of a hat to speak to. I don't have very many people to speak to. I live in a town where not very many. This is a very disinteresting part of the world. Not very many people want to visit Corey. Not very many people want to live here because it's a dilapidated industrial town. Dilapidated town where the factories are all gone, the railroads are gone, the glory days of Corey basically ended. Like back in the 50s or something, like back a long time ago. In Corey, life just ended. There's not a whole lot here anywhere. Short of St. Thomas Church, short of the Corey Beverage Distributor, short of Willow's Pizza, Little Caesars, Pizza Hut. There's not a whole lot here. I come from a small, boring existence. A polyglot who speaks several languages. Ja, mówię po polsku. Tak, jestem Amerykaninem. Jestem Amerykaninem. But when native speakers speak to me, I have trouble understanding because they speak really fast. They just seem to speak really fast. Benny tends to be puzzled by people speaking really fast. Notice how in his videos he doesn't have people who speak to him really fast. Just speak to him really slowly. Then they want to correct. He just says that they want to correct him, but in reality they don't want to talk to him because this guy got camera and they don't want to be on TV and they don't want to be humbled by being on a video with Benny. They don't want to talk to him. They just want to go on with their lives. Benny was having trouble speaking Polish to Koshka. He only learned for several hours. It took me about several weeks just to get Polish. Just the fact that it's similar to Russian and very similar to... Just the fact that it's very similar to Russian and Ukrainian makes it fairly easy for me to learn. I have no trouble with Russian. Then I have no trouble with Polish or Ukrainian because those two languages are similar to each other and very well read. Yeah, because they live so close to each other, Poles, Russians, and Ukrainians. Дякую, я американець. Americanets. There are no text-to-speech programs for Ukrainian out there on the internet. There are very few resources to help you with speak Ukrainian. And Tatar is even fewer. Tatar has even fewer language speakers. Tatar was supposed to have gotten a language revival, but it never really materialized because they mostly speak Russian to each other. And they mostly do that sort of thing. They mostly speak Ukrainian. They mostly speak Russian, and Tatar never caught on language. Unlike my friend Adelia Macker over there, who's a singer who speaks the
9.
Oh shit.
2. 1. 0.
Unlike, she tends to speak Tatar, English, and Russian. She's a big singer. Adelia Mars, she's a big up-and-coming pop star who lives down in Florida. I happen to know her a little bit on the internet. Well, she's out there in her own little world, and screw her. I tend to be a little out there. I'm just a little boy trying to struggle to make his place in the world, trying to get people to listen. People listen to me around this area. I'm well known for speaking several languages among people in this area. It's just the internet is not a very forgiving place. Unfortunately, it's very boring. It's very unforgiving. YouTube can be notoriously unforgiving to the average non-speaker like myself, where Christoph Clugston would call me retarded just because I stammered in my videos like the way I do. He is a very insulting man. He is extremely rude. He's extremely offensive. He's so full of himself that he could make a zeppelin out of his balloon. He's ballooned his ego to the size of a zeppelin. He's just so full of himself. He's just ridiculous. He and Benny are full of themselves. Prima donnas. It's just that Benny tends to highly exaggerate his abilities, whereas Clugston tends to be bashing Benny and Steve Kaufman about their abilities. They tend to exaggerate a little bit because it's the internet. They exaggerate and speak more than they actually say they do. They tend to exaggerate too much. It's just that they don't have the humbleness that I do. When speaking another language, they don't have the humility that I do. They don't have the ability to admit their own mistakes. They don't like to admit that they're wrong. They don't have the humility like I do. They don't have the sincerity like I do. They don't have like what I do. They just don't. Benny just doesn't have the ability to. Benny just doesn't have the ability to. He has the ability to learn a language. It's very great that he has the ability, but does he speak them? He learns them, from books, library. He'll send video and stuff stammering in Portuguese or stammering in Russian or whatever. And it takes a lot of language and talent to learn another language. And that if you can't speak a language well, you're not retarded. That's not retarded. Retarded is where you can't. Is where you can't speak. That's not mentally retarded. Mr. Clugston just insulted very many disabled people. He's insulted very many mentally disabled people by these inflammatory comments about referring to people who can't speak several languages, who can't speak well enough with their brain to be considered retarded. He thinks he's the better linguist out of all of them. He's insulted the mentally disabled with his comments about if you can't speak, you're retarded. He is an extremely insulting man. I would not trust him. I would not trust him. I would not trust him. He's full of himself. He's like imperious leader on Harris game design. He's full of himself. There are so many people out there that claim to know everything, that have a chip on their shoulder and everything. They're just annoying people, and he's one of them. Don't worry about Clugston. He's a jerk. Benny is too full of himself. Benny exaggerates his abilities too greatly. I think the polyglots here on YouTube exaggerate too much. They only speak in little bits and pieces. Whereas I speak in little bits and pieces too. But I don't prefer to exaggerate it. I prefer to just say it straight up without a lot of gusto. That's all I have to say. Well, that's all I have to say for now. And if you want to subscribe to my videos, you're more than welcome to it. I think Benny is very good at learning different. He doesn't need dictionaries. He probably uses dictionaries to speak languages. And speaking languages, and he uses dictionaries because they help him. you use a dictionary to speak a different language to learn anything. He tends to think that he knows everything. He tends to think he just knows a few words and he suddenly knows everything. He's afraid not to make mistakes. You gotta be afraid of making mistakes. Okay, don't be afraid of making mistakes, but don't make stupid mistakes that could get you laughed at. The real world is not very forgiving to people that make mistakes in Spanish or Russian or whatever. You don't want to yelling like Peggy Hill, top lungs and saying something in Spanish that you don't really know what you're saying. You just want to keep a low profile. Keep it low. Just don't speak real loud. Just say it to certain people. Like the shopkeeper with Georgia Copian and Ropa Delicatessen 2404 Peach Street in here. Just keep it light. He has Americans come into his store every day. His store is his store is his his store tends to be rather small store. He sells many goods from Eastern Europe and Turkey and the Middle East. Turkey and Israel. Middle East. He's very prolific. He's very well known around here. He's and I also like to go to Beer and Pop Warehouse here eat my boiled soda. I enjoy my soda with real sugar. I think the high fructose corn syrup tastes like crap. So I like the high fructose sodas at times. I just don't like high fructose corn syrup because I don't think it's all that good for you. Real sugar is better for you, I think. The real sugar, just cane sugar, just tastes a lot sweeter and a lot more nicer, appealing taste. So Mexican Coke is cane sugar. Anyway, if you're gonna learn another language, don't exaggerate yourself like Benny with that close. Just admit your mistakes and then humble yourself. Humble yourself. Don't humble yourself and humiliate yourself too much. Don't make it suffer. Don't make yourself suffer over learning a language. Don't make yourself suffer. Don't give up easily. Feel overwhelmed, stop and take a break and pause. And take it in for a little bit. Don't overdo it. If you feel overwhelmed, you can't do it, then there's a time to stop. Then stop. Just don't be afraid of making mistakes. But be afraid of making mistakes if you're in public. In public, you don't want to make grammatical errors with French. You don't want to say la agua. In Spanish, we don't say la agua. You say el agua. El agua. El agua good. Fritura este bueno. Fritura este buena. Fritura este buena. Fritura este buena. Este buena. Coins are good for you. It's good for you to learn a little bit of a language and speak and speak and speak and speak. It just learns another language to be able to speak. Yeah, it's just great that you learn a different language. Don't exaggerate yourself. Don't make yourself into a native speaker. Exaggerate your own abilities like Benny does. Don't be like Christoph Clugston, who thinks you're wrong just because you don't speak another language correctly. That you're retarded. That you think that you're superior because you happen to know a language. That's how somebody could humble you and speak very fast. Benny's videos don't seem to have people speaking very fast to him. Speaking very, very fast, very, very quick, very, 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 very quick, very fast. Almost incomprehensible to those who don't speak another language. TV, you just real best. You can learn off Russian TV. If speaking another language, go on ETV net and watch American movies dubbed in Russian. They're aimed at Russian-speaking audiences. American at ETV net for that. But just remember, don't exaggerate yourself. Don't be a stuck-up bastard like Christoph Clugston. Just speak it. Remember, it's a hobby. Don't make yourself suffer for it. Don't flagellate yourself. Don't think you're no good. People say you're no good. Just ignore them. Just ignore them and learn from your mistakes. People tend to laugh at me making mistakes. They're native speakers because they tend to be assholes. But they're stuck up and they want to be superior to you because they are native speakers and speak that language. That somehow you made fun of their language by doing that. In effect, they're a bunch of jerks. Like Clugston believes he, a native speaker, could speak every language that he can. Like he's a jerk. He's just a big jerk, in my opinion. Steve Kaufman ain't much better. Well, you want to speak a language, speak it, and make it your hobby. Just don't exaggerate. Keep it low, below profile. Don't say much. Don't act stupid. Don't stupidly go talk to random strangers. It's talking to the wrong person can get you hurt. Talking to the wrong person in a situation can get you hurt. Just approach your strangers. Eye contact. Make appropriate eye contact. Make appropriate eye contact. Make appropriate gestures. Keep yourself calm. If somebody speaks really fast, don't worry. Don't worry about it. And somebody speaks really fast, don't worry about it. It's just them speaking. Benny never has himself in situations where people speak very fast. There's things he won't show on camera. There are things that he just won't show on camera. That he won't show on camera. That he doesn't show on camera because it would take away from his video. Well, he's just out there. He's full of himself. He's not exactly reliable. He's reliable for some linguists and polyglots, so his Finnish practice. Like, his accent tends to be exaggerated. But Benny tends to be very good at what he does. It's a rivalry among all the polyglots on YouTube right now. It's a stupid rivalry. Come on, guys, y'all speak several languages. Just be proud of that fact. Be proud of that fact. And there's my cat right there. Cat. Lucky. Meow. 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 Come on, Mr. Crowley. Meow. 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 Lucky's such a nice cat. It's my cat, Lucky. Lucky. He's such a nice cat. I like him. Nice cat. I admit, he's not stupid. But Christoph Clarkson sucks. Just don't remember to speak like an idiot. Just remember not be a total fool. Benny exaggerates himself highly. It's never a good thing to do when you're speaking and learning another language. Just admit you're humble. Humble, don't exaggerate. Keep yourself down. Don't keep yourself down. Don't keep yourself down. Keep yourself learning. Don't keep yourself down. Don't put yourself down that you're a failure. Just ignore people when they say you're an idiot. Ignore people that say you're not doing well by learning a different language and everything else. Don't speak like an idiot. Making mistakes can get you hurt in several situations. You don't want to be speaking very fast. You want to speak very fast like you know it. It's like that, like that, like that. That. Quick drills. Just drill yourself to speak real fast. Just practice. If you stumble over words, don't worry. Just stumble. If you stumble over a word, just speak slowly and then build up. Build yourself up. Build yourself up. Build yourself up slowly with pronunciation. And always remember to pronounce things correctly in a video. Don't take forever with it. Just speak a language. You're gonna learn another language. Don't make yourself suffer over it. If you're gonna learn another language, just don't. Just stay calm. It takes a certain calmness and a certain cool to learn another language. It takes coolness. You can't be hot-headed and think you know everything like Benny. It takes coolness. It takes precision, professionality. It takes numerous skills to just bow down and get to it, like that. It takes a lot of time. Don't worry about taking time. Just learn it. Don't care if you can't converse with a native speaker or converse like one. Don't care. Don't matter. Don't worry about messing up. Don't worry about messing up. Don't worry about it. Just don't exaggerate. Okay? Don't admit you screwed up. Always admit that you screwed up. Don't go over yourself. Don't exaggerate like Benny or Peggy Hill or something. Just keep it cool. Keep it low. Don't speak like an idiot. Don't yell like you speak Spanish. Don't horribly exaggerate. Just remember to speak slowly. Remember not to be afraid to ask people to speak slowly for you. Yeah. Benny's inability to speak Polish was because he didn't. It was because he stammered in conversation. He tended to be around that Polish lady. He tended to stammer. He tended to be nervous. He was not really confident looking when he is speaking Polish. He was simply lost. Yeah, just don't exaggerate. Just remember, be yourself when speaking a different language. Don't exaggerate. Don't be a fool. Just keep it quiet, keep it cool, stay cool, and don't be hot-headed, and don't be all high and mighty like Christoph Plugston. Just speak slowly. Don't be afraid to ask people to speak slowly. Just don't let it humble you. Just don't let it get nervous when speaking another language. Don't worry about it. It's just learning. It's just learning for another language of hobby, like I do for a hobby. It doesn't mean you should speak every language. It just means that if you have a language, learn it. Don't be self-defeating. Don't give yourself up easily. It's frustrating. There's many frustrations and obstacles you have to get through in learning a different language. But don't worry about that. Just learn. That's all I have to say for now. Bye.